Hello everyone, I'm Extra Cheesy 87 and this is Let's Play Trails Into Reverie bonus video thing. We're in the post-game. Last time, we beat the game and all that, and we have a few things left to do before we can call Reverie done and dusted. First things first, we're going to talk to everybody since everyone seems to have new dialogue, new post-game dialogue. Then we're going to pivot to do our two white daydreams we got for beating the game. It's kind of a weird one because I've already recorded the first one. Because basically during the finale, I thought they'd be like, 5 or 10 minute little thingamawhatsers. Started recording the first one, realized, oh, this boy long, it needs to be its own video. So, we'll do our NPC talking, then we'll cut to that, which is technically an even older past version of me. We're going to do some time travel shenanigans in this video, and then we're going to read the second one. Should be fun. What up, Joshua?
How's it going?
My dad don't tell me about the strength that comes from the relationships people form and the bonds that endure for them. Being here has reminded me just how much I've overcome in my life thanks to the connections I've forged over the years. And I know deep down that Loe has been able to rest easy as he's watched over me. I know that all of us will find a way to pull through, no matter what happens next.
Sure, I've got a minute.
Together, we've all been able to overcome so much because of the bonds we formed with one another over the years. That's why I know all of us will find a way to pull through.
Time to get this party started.
Guess it's almost time for us to say our goodbyes and go our separate ways. I miss being together like this. But it's more like a see you later sort of deal, This is just the beginning of bigger and better things. We'll see each other again someday. It's only a matter of time for our paths cross once more. Estelle, I'm gonna be honest, there's a chance you get the Kevin treatment. I don't know. I mean, you're my girl, but like, I don't think you're the favorite child anymore, Estelle.
I'm always up for a good chat.
That should just about tie up all the crossbows loose ends, shouldn't it? It's home to people that are still important to me, so for their sakes, I'm relieved this is all behind us. Now I can take the next step in life. Only question is deciding what that'll be, but hey, that's the fun part.
I'm always up for a good chat.
I'm concerned what will come after the Phantasmal Blaze plan, but I'd also like to see Grandpa Jorg again. He's someone who's always looked out for me over the years. Well, I should focus on making it back to Genis first. At least you still got Rean. As long as Ren's relevant, maybe you can still be relevant, Estelle. There's still a couple, they still have the whole Jorg thing that presumably you're going to have Rean involved in to some degree going forward.
What's going on?
Things sure took an unexpected turn in the end there, but we still managed to pull through, that's what matters. It's yet another reminder just how crucial friends are, something I've thought about more times than I can count. Whoever he is, I hope the other me is watching. No man is an island. Whatever comes next, I'll prove it can always be overcome with friends like these at my side. Always.
So then...
Working to resolve this anomaly has been one of the most enlightening experiences I've yet faced. Challenging the corridor with everyone, fighting alongside living legends, even coming face to face with the Septirion. Does nobody remember CS4? I couldn't ask for a finer whetstone to sharpen my skills. I feel as though I've reached greater... Or like the ending to Reverie? I don't know why they keep acting like fighting the Septirion was such a big deal. And I fully intend to put it all into practice. Someday I'll proudly stand alongside each of this area's greatest swordsmen.
What is it?
I've grown in ways I could never have achieved through training thanks to the ordeals we face in this strange realm. And I fully intend to put it all into practice. As soon as I find my shoes.
What next?
Time and time again, I've been shown that with friends like ours, we can defy even the soundest of predictions and calculations, if not fate itself. May sound cliche, but going through this ordeal has reminded me of that all too well. I'm truly proud to be surrounded by so many capable people.
Hey there!
Everything is all said and done now. Time really flies, huh? We've had our ups and downs since first coming here, but I'm glad we managed to pull through. It was kind of fun meeting and fighting alongside so many people. We'll have to go our separate ways soon, but I'm sure we'll meet again. I have to make sure I don't fall behind them.
What do you want?
Damn, I was been trying to pain in the ass. At least we managed to get it all sorted out in the end. Looking back on everything, guess it wasn't a total buzzkill. Not the worst way to kick off the new school year now that I'm sticking around at Thor's. Now everyone knows just what I'm made of.
What do you want?
Looking back on everything, okay. Just, you don't get multiple...
got a sec?
You don't get a second line, Ash. And to make sure I don't fall behind.
Notice anything strange?
feel like we can finally slowly wrap things up for good this time. I'd like to think I carried myself to the best of my ability, both as a CGF guardsman and as a member of the SSS. I don't think I'll ever become complacent. I'm ready for whatever comes next, and I'll work harder than ever to protect Crossbow.
Notice anything strange?
I like to think I did both the CGF and the SSS proud as I carried out my duties here. And well, I'm gonna be honest, you didn't do anything. No offense, it's not your fault. I don't think I'll ever become complacent. I'll work hard for whatever comes next. You just didn't have a place. You didn't join the party in time for Gun Squad. Unfortunately. Pro had to take your place as a gun girl. Or gun gal. And, I don't know. I couldn't really ever think of a reason to use you.
This isn't ideal.
This is what I call a happy ending. I had my concerns as a member of the CrossFitter, but I was right to place my bets on the strength of bonds once again. And to seize the future for ourselves without the help of foresight. Isn't that something? I think that's what makes what all we've gained all the more valuable.
I hope you're doing well.
Things so much brighter now that we've put this ordeal behind us. I'm sure this experience will live on in each of our hearts, even if we may lose our memories of it. I imagine I'll make good use of what I've learned as I perform in Arkansas, or as I work as Yin, whether I realize it or not. You're not gonna work as Yin, Risha! What the hell? Stop killing people! God.
This isn't ideal.
You're the future auditor. What the hell, man?
Is something the matter?
What is your problem, Riksha? Why did this game character assassinate Riksha so much? You guys are missing someone. Hey, it's me, Lloyd. Sure do wish somebody would come around and talk to me. I'm just standing around here waiting to be talked to. NPC Lloyd, everybody. Yep.
Just a minute.
Things should finally be settled this time. It's really over. It was the bonds we share that allowed us to see things through, and I'm sure that will never change. I'll hold that feeling in my heart and treasure it even as our daily lives in Crossville return to normal.
You wish to speak?
I am a dog. I was at last able to witness Demiurgos be put to rest, despite it being only a transient existence. Those on my old pact as a holy beast has fallen by the wayside and has finally been fulfilled. Never could have been possible without all of you. You have my eternal gratitude.
Wanna chat?
It's almost unbelievable how much you've accomplished here. I truly am grateful. I'm glad we were able to be there for her in the end. Such a relief to see a genuine smile on her face. Overdue if you ask me. We gotta keep working hard in our world for her sake. I mean, you say overdue, but we knew the girl for literally all of like an hour. There's a big bright future waiting for us. We gotta meet it head on and make the most of it, together with everyone we love.
Hey, making the rounds?
Feels good to finally put a bow on the place, for real this time. Sure was a hell of a journey. I didn't see it end like this. This whole place just disappearing into the ether and all that. Well, I don't have to go quite yet. I'm gonna enjoy these last moments here for as long as I can.
Yes? What is it?
Every quarter will vanish soon, and those of us from Crossville will part ways with everyone else. It feels sad to think about, but this experience has been so rewarding for us all that I feel like I've gained so much. I'm sure we'll cross paths again one day. I'd rather look forward to that than being depressed about saying goodbye. Alright, NPC Lloyd.
How's it going?
It's an honor to fight alongside all of you to the very end. I like to believe the memories you made here will still be somewhere in our hearts, powering us to move forward. Hope we can be there for one another again in the future. Alright, done with NPC Lloyd. Main character Lloyd is back. The most powerful of the Lloyds. And it's not really true. The coolest Lloyd has ever been was when he one-shot that Soldat in CS4. That was where he peaked. Since then, we have not let Lloyd do all that much. I guess he fought Robo McBurn. That was kind of cool. But other than that, you know, we have to keep Lloyd. He only gets the OP in-game. Just sort of got dragged into this. Or I guess in combat, I should specify. But it's good we got this wrapped up, huh? For you and that Septarion. Guess even I got a little kick out of seeing the limits of human potential being pushed and all that. Still don't know if there's anything I can do about their future plans, not that I care. All I can say is you better not let up going forward, not if you don't want them deciding your future for you.
What? You need something?
Deciding our future for us, eh?
Do you need me?
You know, I thought you were all strong, but not bring a warp Septarion to heal strong, even if only briefly. What are you talking about? Did nobody play Azure or CS4 or Reverie? These all involve fighting a Septurion. I'm pretty sure they even state, I mean, Kia, it's kind of a, you know, you could say that she wasn't necessarily trying to kill everyone, so maybe she wasn't trying as hard, but I'm pretty sure don't they state that she's stronger than the Mirage Septurion as well? Or like just as strong, at the very least. So that's basically a Septurion. That's just the SSS. They don't have 30 extra characters. Obviously, the Great One. And then when you fight him again in Reverie, that's 2 Septurions. Oh, that's your damn mind. Well, this goes to show that one should never underestimate the potential you humans possess, even when you're determined. Space isn't long for this world, but I must say you use it to rest up as much as you can. You've more than earned it in my eyes. My eyes just stopped working there for a second. Like the words, they didn't word. I'm saying this game's gonna have some, like the series has got some big power scaling issues, man. That's one thing I am kind of looking forward to, like a new arc, like to kind of reset things back down at least for a little while when it comes to the power scaling. Because there is a bit of dissonance where it's like, okay, you defeated the god level threat at the end of CS4, and then you beat another god level threat in this game, but then they're like, oh, wow, it's so crazy you could beat one Septurion when you've already beaten 2 Septurions fused together. I don't know. It's kind of an issue. And the power scaling is hard to do right. It's not like it's easy, but I do think the Trails games at times do a particularly poor job of it.
It's getting lively in here, isn't it?
And so our tale Beyond the Reverie has come to an end. As sad as it's to say, our time to part ways fast approaches. That's how it goes in this world of theater. The play ends and the actors bow out to begin preparing for the next story to tell. That reminds me, the society is somewhat in disarray at the moment. Mr. Novartis is in particular seems rather distressed having his plans go awry. Serves him right if you ask me. I'll let Emma, grandmother, and the other witches handle the rest. And with any luck, we'll all hopefully meet again one day. But like, okay, I get Novartis, he's like the crazy scientist who just wanted the data in the experiment, but like, if the experiment reached its logical conclusion, doesn't he get lightning bolted to death? And then he can't do any more experiments? I feel like, I don't know. I don't think he'd be that mad about the, you know, genocide of the human race not happening. Personally.
Good day to you.
As fleeting as our time here is, this space is certainly a rather warm, comforting place to be. And yet we wouldn't have this tranquility were it not for everyone here. It's been an honor to watch you all attain it firsthand. Feel free to relax now. I have tea and snacks at the ready as well, should you desire.
Good day to you. Oh, something up?
That should be the last ruin of the Black Workshop finally taken care of. Hopefully now my father can rest in peace at Adios' side. In the meantime, I say we relax and enjoy the time we have left. I know I've got mountains of work waiting for when I get back. That is unless Adios judges you when you're possessed by the evil brain parasite. That'd be kind of fucked up. It's like, yeah, you know, you did have the evil brain parasite that like I kind of created munching on you, but you still committed lots of murder, so you gotta go to Gehenna. Not that I'm advocating for that, but I do think that would be... I mean, it's kind of a funny idea. In a morbid way.
What? What is it?
Fran's one of the very few characters who did nothing wrong. And, like, getting the worst punishment possible would be... Yeah, it's surreal, like, morbidly funny. Everything behind us, it's starting to catch up to me all of a sudden. I feel so bushed. At least my training's paying off now that being in this form feels like second nature to me. That's something, but like, why do you need to be in this form and why does it need to be second nature? Maybe tagging along with you guys all this time wasn't such a bad idea after all. Maybe.
Hiya.
A long night has finally ended. It's like the dawn of a new day. To say I feel like a new woman is putting it lightly. We already did the dawn stuff. That's CS4. That's old thematics. Gotta get something new, Emma. I managed to fulfill my duties as a witch as well. Hopefully now my mother can rest easy at Adios' side. We're in the future for ourselves, fair and square. I for one can't wait to share it with everyone else here. No, technically she committed murder, therefore she has to go. Adios does not care about the what you call it, reasonings behind it. Ironclad. Okay, that's probably not in the scriptures, considering that the Grail Knights are a church-sanctioned assassination squad sometimes. Okay, who else is there? Okay, all you guys.
Well, this is a lot, huh?
Guess we can officially call our job complete. You know, at first I thought it was going to be nothing but a giant pain. Turns out I was wrong. Going through all we did and meeting everyone here wasn't so bad after all. Which, I mean, technically, I mean, if you think about it, Emma's mom did murder an innocent guy. Because there was... The person being possessed did nothing wrong, and they got burnt. Now, I guess her actions are justified, but it is kind of weird to think about, right? That basically she did blow some innocent dude away. In theory. Turns out I was wrong. Going through all we did here, meeting everyone wasn't so bad after all.
Well, this is a lot, huh?
At first I thought our job was just gonna be nothing but a giant pain. Turns out I was wrong. Yeah. I think I read your dialogue like 3 times there.
Can I help you?
Knowing our memories will soon vanish with this space leaves me with mixed feelings, I'll admit. Yet so long as our time here remains somewhere within us, our efforts will not have been in vain. The onus is on us to make the best use of our growth here in our lives hereafter.
Now, this is a problem.
Alright, I'll agree. I got no comment.
Oh, would you like to talk?
Well, we've taken care of the final loose end related to Elysium. I don't like to think I was able to help out that girl after everything she's gone through. Even if it took us a long while to get to her. I'm so grateful to have met everyone, not just Rufa, Swin, and Nadia. I really do mean everyone.
Hey, listen to this!
So excited for my upcoming journey, but I hope we'll be able to see each other again like this one day. So grateful to have met everyone.
Y'all good in there?
Ooh, that's a good stuff. Can already feel it washing on my body already. Nice work out there, by the way. Guess that goes for everyone. Really had to buckle down that time. Guess time's running out for this place, so you can bet I'm planning on sending it off in style. It is weird that the causality machine can just somehow create, like, you know, food and stuff. I mean, I already talked about it, you know, my original idea was that it's the Oreo, which made sense to me because of, like, one of the reasonings for it. Well, there's 2 reasons why I was really on the Oreo, well, 3 reasons, okay? A, just obviously the similarities between the Phantasma space. You know, this is a phase space that goes way beyond anything else we've seen in the game. It's much more comparable to the Phantasma, which was like a remnant of the Oreo. Secondarily, the wish fulfillment aspect, like the fact that you can just think of something and it appears in here, fits in line with the Oreo and its function as you know, the way it grants miracles and whatnot. And then thirdly, oh yeah, it was partially because I thought maybe the reason they chose the name Reverie for the game would actually be a reference to that Reveries were the Oreo's defense mechanism. Like, it's not just for, like, the thematic reasoning behind it. Like, you know, the way, like, the Reverie section's kind of represented as a dream and whatnot. But also, like, a kind of direct reference there is that, you know, the machine you fight at the end of Sky 1 is called the Reverie machine. And they reference in Sky 2 that there were a bunch of them that tried to attack the scientists who were trying to steal the Oreo. But, they ended up doing something different. Which, I mean, it being the Black Record thing is kind of neat. I think I mean, just because I, you know, thought of it on my own, I would have liked to have seen the Oreo. Just because, I don't know, something about the Black Record machine. It just feels like it's like, it can do all this stuff. Like, I don't know. It just feels like it does too much at once. Which just feels a little weird to me. Especially considering there's multiple. Because I guess it just felt like, if that's just like, no, it's like it's not really everyday technology, but if it's like, I don't know. Something about it feels a little off to me, and I don't really know why. Maybe because it feels a little too neat, I guess, that it's like, oh, it's the causality, it's that causality machine and everything. I don't know. I don't really have a good actual reasoning for it. It's more just like an emotional gut-based feeling.
And how do you fare, my friend?
I ask, are there ever greater moments than those fleeting, poignant periods spent with loved ones? And I answer, I think not. I believe we've earned this moment of respite. We should enjoy it until we can do so no longer. So then, any requests, please speak up. I'll be utterly delighted to entertain your every melodic whim.
I'm in the mood to play a little tune.
Play play the song. You know the one. So then, any requests, speak up.
Need something?
It's like I've been living in a dream, but I suppose dreams mean waking up sooner or later. At least they're letting us have our memories, leave with our memories intact. I think I'll be able to spin a bedtime story out of this experience to tell my kid once they're old enough. Well, we'll keep our eyes forward so that our time spent here will be a happy story. Nah, don't tell them about that. Tell them about when you did cool shit in, like, Sky 2. Don't tell them about the, hey, that time the world was gonna be destroyed and I didn't do anything.
Working hard?
Oh, it was a really tough fight back there. I think we all deserve a pat on the back for that one. It must have been our experience and our bonds, especially that bonds to one another, that made us stronger to pull through. I always felt grateful to have so many talented and wonderful friends, but I never more than I do now. Because, like, on one hand, I get it. She's, like, supposed to be, like, you know, pregnant. But at the same time, we're letting literal children fight, so... kind of a hard argument to buy.
What's up?
Because it's like, you know, if the situations are important enough to let the children fight, then I don't know. And it's not like she's like, you know, late-term pregnancy either. I could kind of get if it was like, you know, she's going to be impaired in combat on top of it, but we don't have a battle in things on. I'm glad we scraped through. Man, look at everyone. They've changed so much since we first got here. Whether we remember everything that went down or not, the strength we gained here is to stay. Just gotta know how to use it going forward.
If you could keep it short.
It's over at last. I feel as though I've taken a small step towards reaching the heights my lord once attained. I suppose a little of that's thanks to my battles with you. You have my gratitude for that. Remember when Duvali got introduced to Azure and got totally punked on? And then spent the next... 4 games also getting punked on? Don't misunderstand. I'm not only being courteous. It does not make us friends.
If you could keep it short.
I'm just saying, is Duvali the most clown? I think Duvali is actually the most clowned on character. Like, even more than, like, Gilbert. Because Gilbert's deliberately a clowny character. Duvali's, like, portrayed as being, like, a serious combatant, yet she just constantly accumulates L's.
Yes, all good.
When all is said and done, I've found this to be a net positive experience. I feel I've reached new heights in facing these trials. Even if our memories of this place won't remain, this blade of mine won't forget all that I've attained walking alongside you. We all meet again someday when we've all grown even further along our respective paths.
So,
I think we finally put things to a rest here this time. It wasn't exactly easy, but I do feel like I've grown as a bracer. Sarah's been telling me I should pay the HQ in Lamont a visit and try touring the other branches around the continent. I have plenty of old friends from Zephyr to look up too. Could always use the combat experience. Are they in prison? I'm just saying, they're probably...
Are you troubled
with the threads of fate on the Septurion of Mirage now unraveled, soon the Black Workshop will meet its own end as well. Suffice it to say that Ereboni and Crossbow alike are entering an altogether new era. We who have the power to leave our mark on this next chapter of history are honor-bound to do so with the gravity and dignity it merits. I mean, I guess if they've gone straight, you know, they can... whatever. I'll overlook it.
And just how are you?
You have all fought wonderfully. If there was ever a time for a celebratory drink, this would most certainly be it. Things you've accomplished here will stay with you for the rest of our lives. Though I've grown in my time here as well, it has been a far greater privilege to watch the younger generation come into their own. As cliched as it may be to say, Erebonia, the entire continent, has a bright future ahead of it in my estimation. She doesn't know. She lacks the critical information. She doesn't know about the heat death of the universe in 2 years. She doesn't know about the incoming conflagration.
Indeed.
Indeed. See, Claire knows. She's probably rooting for it. She's probably like, oh, hell yeah, I can't wait for all life to be wiped out. I mean, I'll be like, you know, pretend to be sad or whatever, but... personally speaking, I'm extremely glad I was able to fight alongside everyone else so much here. Those are the experiences brought me a little closer to learning how to forgive myself. Isn't this just your old dialogue? I feel like it's just your dialogue you had at the end of the game already. Like at the start of the in-game Reverie corridor. Empire clearly has its fair share of problems. As a member of the RMP, I'll do my part to move things forward.
Indeed.
Take a load off.
I don't know what homework the old man left me. You know, I get the feeling something's about to keep me busy all over again in the near future. Well, whatever happens, happens. With the kind of people we got here, I'm not stressing it too much.
Yo, all good?
Come on, Lecter. Let's go to Michelin. Fishing Lecter.
Hi!
Oh man, guess this place is gonna go poof in a little while, huh? I can't be the only one so sad about it. We all cried a bunch when we had to leave the original Reverie corridor. Let's send this one off with a smile. Which means we may as well party as hard as we can until it's time to go.
How are you holding up?
It's always something special to be your first drink after a day's work. What we faced here was one of our greatest challenges yet, but I can't help but smile when I think back on it. Strange, this coffee tastes stronger today than usual. I wonder why.
Not sure what to make of any of this.
Probably because it's got space poisoning in it. Grass is grass, Machias.
What do you need?
I believe that just about does it. It wasn't pretty, and I'd be lying if I said I didn't hold some regrets, but now's the time to look ahead. Our paths may separate as they head towards the horizon, but I'm sure they will cross again someday.
Oh, need anything?
Deep down, I've been fearing the worst ever since we arrived here. I'm glad we managed to get a happy ending. This experience has reminded me that there's nothing we can't overcome so long as we all work together. Plus, I want to pass on to all the students with us, both as a Thor's instructor and an alumnus.
Hi there.
Our journey through the corridors reminded me that there's nothing we can't overcome when we work together. I'm George.
Something.
Now that the Reverie quarters kicked off a shutdown process, suppose we'll only be here for a little while longer. I'm just glad that girl got her wish in the end. Trust me when I say on a personal level, it warms my heart to see. This has got to be a good chance to show just how much I've grown since the end of the war. So, long ways off from being ready to forgive myself for everything, but for now I'm grateful I was able to come here.
Hey, how's it going?
Everyone loves a happy ending, right? Just look at the smiles on their faces. Seriously though, teaming up with you guys in this place made me feel like I was reliving my glory days in school. You mean the thing that happened 2 years ago? Yeah, there's no telling what the future holds, but I know one thing for sure, I wouldn't bet against us when it matters most, right? It's been about, what, 2 years since CS1?
How's it going?
Everyone will be going their separate ways soon, so I wish we could all get a bit more time together. Till that time comes, though, I think I'll play some music on my violin. We may as well go out on a high note, literally. Who knows, maybe, just maybe, if they hear the same tune again, they'll have a faint memory of this place. It's worth a shot. I mean, considering, Elliot, your music, like, brought people back to life, because you're a damn necromancer. Guess that wouldn't be the craziest thing Elliot's done with his music.
How's it going?
Need me for something?
Feels more peaceful here than ever. You would hardly know that it's set to disappear soon. Only a matter of time for we all to go our separate ways, but I know we'll always be connected. Through the wind. And if one of us is ever in trouble, I'm sure the rest of us will come rushing to their side, like the wind blowing across the land. Okay, I don't really like that we're ending on you two. I guess, Alphen, you get to be the last person we talk to?
I have to do something.
I can't end on Elise. I'm not going to give her that victory. I'm so relieved to be able to resolve everything going on here together. I hope I helped. I like to think I was part of the team, rather than simply tagging along and following everyone for once. At least you did literally nothing in this game. I don't want to weigh the rest of you down. That's why I plan to keep training so hard so I can keep making a difference. Alphen, you did, like, use Seraphic Ring, like, once. That was kind of cool.
Good day to you.
I must say it's been rather nice getting to spend time here. It's so tranquil, isn't it? Plan to soak it up while I still can too, because once I leave, it's back to being a busy bee routine at the palace. So grateful I can savor such a rare opportunity to spend time with my friends like this, and not as a princess, as myself.
Good day to you.
Alright, that's all of our talkie talks done. Done and dusted. Now, we're going to pivot. That took longer than I expected. This is going to be a long bonus video, because the first Daydreams took like 30 or 40 minutes. So we're going to cut to that. Enjoy us reading about Eastern Rean. Then when Eastern Rean is done, we're going to cut to the second one, which I don't even remember what it was supposed to be, but we'll find out soon. Or whatever. Goodbye, kind of. These are but minute fragments of memories drifting in an endless ocean, memories of what will be in the near future. Could they be shadows of the tangled threads woven by Elysium, or perhaps faded illusions that slip through the cracks of time and space? There are none who know the answer? Not even us. We make up shit as we go along sometimes. Another hot springs paradise? January, year 1206. 1208! Between two great mountains at the tip of the Calvardian Basin sits Longlie. The town is known for two things, being the eastern entrance to the Republic and its exceptional hot springs. Man, the eastern entrance, man, we're real far away. Through these enticing factors does it continue to welcome tourists hailing from both home and abroad. Today it served guests quite unlike its many unseasoned visitors. These had come from another renowned hot springs paradise situated in the northern reaches of Erebonia. The depths of flavor in the food here is exquisite. Agreed, the Phoenix Wings food is certainly nothing to sneeze at, but I have my doubts the chef could replicate dishes this unique in taste. The Bichon's Inn's reputation continues to precede itself. We're in the damn visual novel. I'm kind of here for it. I don't know how long this stuff is going to be, but I feel like we should do it now. I have no clue how this is all going to go, because, like, we fought the final boss for, like, 2 hours. So, I don't know, I guess this is all just one super long video. I don't know. Baron Teo and Lady Lucia Schwarzer were sampling the inn's culinary delights, spirits high and stomachs filling fast. Their daughter, Elise, sat next to them, her spirit a bit lower by comparison as her brows furrowed with concern. I'm sure its luxuries come with just an equally luxurious price tag, and there's 4 of us, so even 2 nights must have cost a small fortune. Upon realizing what she said, she shook her head. I didn't mean to dampen the mood. I know we have the money, but all my budgeting as student council president has made a terrible habit of me seeing the numbers and everything. Her older brother, Rean, couldn't help but let out a chuckle. And the budget buster and you will like how much we save, because we're not here as paying customers. We were invited by the owner personally. They said they wanted to get us know us since we run similar establishments, so here we are. And we'll be inviting them to Ymir sooner than later, of course. Right, Dad? Absolutely. Add this to the list of boons coming from other countries that finally coming to terms with one another. The Republic is reveling in unheard of levels of prosperity, and the relations between our people are more active and festive than ever. And I, for one, welcome any opportunity to further foster friendship. I have a feeling that shit's not gonna last. Calvert are the new bad guys, alright? Erebonia, you're off the hook. The Baron took another healthy sip of his baijiu before continuing. Friendship over fighting, I say. Such a shame the world tends to overcomplicate that simple concept. Seeing her husband's glass is almost empty, Lucia filled it to the brim while adding her own thoughts. Brim, I don't know, man. You might want to chill for a little bit. That's the only reason why we need to make the most of the invitation and enjoy ourselves to the fullest. Their children nodded in agreement. And even that aside, there's no reason to spoil a family vacation when we so rarely have time to take them. Oh, I read out some unusual sweet dishes worth trying here. Would you like to share some with me, Rean? No. In a bit. I'm thinking of taking another soak in the hot springs, so I might be in the mood for something sweet after. Food's are delicious, but as far as I'm concerned, the hot springs are the real star of the show. That's my boy right there. He loves hot water. The ruling lord of the hot springs paradise would never let a good discussion about them pass him by. He was as fond of their quality and soothing effects as Rean, enthusiasm undeniably apparent from the warmth of his tone to the width of his smile. Their medicinal springs happen to be a favorite of mine. I can't help but be fascinated by them from time to time. I can believe it. I've known about them, but here's the first place I've been able to feel the way they warm you right to your core. Think we can make one available to Phoenix Wings? Be worth a try, but that comes with its own obstacles. For as many problems as Teo expressed in practical terms, Rean held just as many proposed solutions. Conversation grew more involved by the minute, leaving the ladies of the house to pleasantly bask in the glow and continue enjoying the meal before them. All 4 felt the same, that it had been too long since they could enjoy each other's company, but the wait had been well worth it. That night, after indulging in his post-dinner soak in the springs and telling his family he was going for a walk, Rean departed the inn. Alright, let's do this. Took a deep breath, the crisp night air of Longlai filling his lungs. Hot springs were an excellent bonus to his trip to be sure, but it was not the real reason he agreed to visit. Oh, the master. So, depending on how long these two take, there's a possibility this is just like a bonus video that I'm going to record immediately right after the finale. And I'll maybe record a separate ending section for the finale, if this takes more than, like, say, 30 or so minutes. For the two of them. He had come in search of Yun Kai-Fai, the famed sword hermit. Master Kai-Fai was the founder of the Eight Leaves One Blade School, of which Rean was a practitioner. And though now over 70 years old, he was still regarded as one of the strongest combatants on the continent. They had not met since before Rean's enrollment at Thor's. Many a letter was exchanged during the 4 years that followed, but even they had stopped after Rean earned the right to call himself a Divine Blade over a year ago. There was so very much he wished to discuss with his master. What he had learned in his 4 years of training, what had transpired since becoming a Divine Blade, the true meaning behind being the final blade to master the Eight Leaves. There's plenty I'd like to ask that have nothing to do with swordsmanship too. All these questions, all impossible to answer without first knowing the whereabouts of a single individual. Even a senior practitioner like Cassius Bright claimed ignorance, having received not a single update from their old master. He had always been an elusive but traceable sort, but wherever he was now, he was next to impossible to track. That was until word of a blade master being sighted in Longlai reached Rean's ears. The man held a fondness for this town's specialties, those being the hot springs and its fragrant tea leaves, making the sighting worthy of particular note. He also knew from the letters before they stopped that he intended to journey eastward, making Longlai one of the more plausible stopping points. The word came to him just as the Schwartzes were invited to stay at the inn during their next year vacation, or their New Year vacation. Rean's instincts told him the time was a little too fortunate, but with how vague the lead was, even if it would most likely result in him leaving the same as he had arrived. While he had not discussed the rumor being key to his traveling here, his family seemed to sense it was more than a simple pleasure trip for him. I would have a great time catching up with him, but I don't want to get his hopes up for nothing. These thoughts in mind, Rean made his way through the night streets. Longlai's architecture was distinctly Eastern, making it a uniquely intriguing sight among most of Calvert's towns and cities. That's not to say it was similar to Crossbell's East Street. With subtle colors paired with dignified beauty, every wall and stone exuded the traditional concept of wabi-sabi. One look was enough to understand the region was rich with history. This quiet charm would give way for contrastly lively evenings. Where tourists both westward and farther eastward were greeted to stalls dedicated to the hot springs and more. This too held a traditional sort of charm. Rean asked several merchants if they had any information pertaining to the whereabouts of his master, somewhat sheepishly purchasing a number of souvenirs from their stalls to keep himself from being a nuisance. Oh man, he's got so many keychains. All to go with his mishies. He justified, would make excellent gifts for his friends, co-workers, and his students. I can't believe it's almost time for them to graduate. I'd be more emotional about theirs than it was for mine. Well, your graduation was probably a bummer, Rean. Let's be real. You had Patrick to cheer you on. Ugh. For the first time, Rean would get to experience what it was like for the young birds he had taken under his wing for 2 years to finally leave the nest. Their first year had been eventful, to say the least. What had started as a problem class full of disagreements and mounting tension had slowly grown into one of compassion and understanding for one another. It was with each new discovery about themselves and each new ordeal the world sought to impose upon them. They grew not only as individuals, but as a team. He hoped this period would remain a meaningful part of their lives, as it would always be for him. The months before the Retributive Tower's appearance held many a trial, making the 10 months that followed in its shadow pass all too quickly. In that time, Rean students continued to mature, build on everything they accomplished in their first year to prepare for and settle into their desired future. Indeed, whether it was by overcoming their demons or by learning to work with them in a healthier fashion, their paths up till now had been well worn, and while they may have had to rest from time to time, he was proud to be part of why their steps continue to face forward. Proud, but also lonely at the thought of saying goodbye. Their second year drew to a close, lacking in grandiose events, but still rewarding in its own right. It was this mixture of emotions that bore conflict within it most. I'm going through it all over again next year, and even the year after that. Hell of a career I chose to pursue, huh? So do they not add any newcomers to Class 7? If you were on the upcoming year, you just got screwed? Realizing this, he resumed his search, paying respect in mind to the many generations of educators who came before him. No matter where he looked, he could not find Master Kai-Fi and Longlai. It was, however, too early to say whether the trip had been in vain, as he at least caught an unverified report of the Blade Master being seen in the mountains to the south. Wandering such terrain at night wasn't going to be ideal, but Rean was already firm on spending the next day with his family. Tonight it would have to be. Making a brief stop to the inn to tuck in his souvenir somewhere secure, he then departed for his new destination. The mountain's winding, half-beaten trails would be more treacherous at night, but they were not off-limits as such. The key Rean knew would not be to rely on sight alone. Sense of hearing and smell, perhaps even touch, were going to be equally vital in the hours ahead. Relying upon his experience and intellect to heighten all 5 senses, he took in his surroundings in full. It really takes you back to training in the mountains. To call the experience training would imply his time of being one of simple tutelage between student and master, but it equated so much more. The danger then was far worse than it was now, with some days requiring him to set foot into highly dangerous territories just to find the day's food to survive. He was also like a kid. I don't think any monsters should really be threatening Rean at this point, realistically. Sounds like the Kunlun Mountains may have been used for a similar exercise a long time ago. Rean was certain to think on the information gained during his search as he continued along the trail. Searching for evidence of human activity in an environment like this was not a difficult task. Humans always leave something indicative of their presence behind that no wild creature could, be it long dead fire, footprints, or traces of going on the hunt. One only needed to follow the light to lead to their source. Rean did so, advancing with the caution instilled in him by both his old master and hunting enthusiast of a father. They soon led him precisely to clear evidence that a human had been in the area, though the evidence itself was far from what he expected. Remains of a camp? No, this is... It didn't look like it had been left by martial artists in training or roaming hunters, but the most peculiar thing was that there were multiple sites, like the first, all evenly spaced from one to the next. It was as though something was being measured. The spirit veins! Maybe this is some group of scholars doing field research, but it seems too large in scale for that. There was nothing more to be found here being advanced. Soon after, he found another unusual mound of evidence. Someone forced their way through here in a car, or more like hacked open a path wide enough for a car to pass through. All further inspection here suggested that whoever was responsible had given up this endeavor, leading him to wonder if they somehow found success elsewhere. And if they did, why hadn't they done this at all? The question pestered him. If there was anywhere to clear wide paths, the remote depths of the mountain certainly were not it. But an instinct told him he was only a step away from discovering the answer. To keep following this trail a little further. With this thought, Rean sensed someone approaching. One person, 2 people, yes, there were 2, and it was clearly aware of his presence as well. Only for a fleeting second did he think they might be the ones responsible for the strange trails, but a deadly tension that now thickened the air told him these were no simple scholars. He felt them draw near, the night veiling themselves well, and then he felt them stop. How about you show yourselves? He spoke, without placing his hand on his tachi, signifying to those watching that he had no desire to fight. Their silhouettes then silently emerged from the dark shadows of the mountains. They looked very much like the shinobi of the east he had heard about, their forms clad from top to bottom in black garments and their faces fully obscured. Bro, you guys got no shot. I see your insight poses a threat after all, Divine Blade of the Empire. The contract with our client is yet to begin, but we will make an exception for one among their list of dangerous persons. Silhouette's then charged. They caught him completely off guard, drawing short, straight blades to attack him as they narrowed in. Then Rean fucking died. That's how you get your HQ firebombed. You kill off the main character in a random side story. Takes place after the post-game. Rean's eyes widened in surprise, but nearly in the same moment he was in a fighting stance, hand over his still sheathed Tachi. Fifth form Morning Moon! Ha! He perceived the direction of his foe's attacks to evade them, then mounted a counterattack of his own. All it took was that incident to repel their assault and leave them vulnerable. Ordinarily this would be the time to take the offensive, but all Rean could do was stare at the two with disbelief. Thought into my mind as I saw you move, but now that we've crossed blades. He paused, the disbelief in his eyes giving way to a more intent gaze. Are you practitioners of the Eight Leaf School? Another pause, this time from the silhouettes, before answering as though they were well aware the question was coming. No, though we do possess ties to the school. We are the Ikaruga, practitioners of the Black God One Blade School. That sounds very not ominous. The what? Rean was left stunned. I mean, it's a cool name. The two Ikaruga held their blades horizontally, ready to thrust them forward at any moment. It was as though they wanted to make clear that, while they had been cut off guard once, he would not be so fortunate twice. Rean responded by assuming the middle stance, with his Tachi. Just as the sides were only a beat away from engaging in battle, Rean, this is where you get saved in a cutscene. Rean, you're gonna get saved in a cutscene. You're never free. It could only be described as a black cyclone roared from the darkness, so such that it seemed to slice right through anything it touched. Its appearance caught Rean by surprise, more than the initial attack by the silhouettes. He had not suspected an attack from that angle, the distance, or even that moment. His enemy, on the other hand, did not so much as flinch at the sight. The approaching blade over an arc and a half in length was heading directly for Rean's back. He couldn't possibly dodge it now. Perhaps he should have noticed. Perhaps it was impossible to notice. Whatever the answer, the Divine Blade of the Empire would soon fall. The silhouettes waited it in for his final moments to be, convinced of no other fate in his future. When Rean spun his body in a full circle, applying the intensity built into his Tachi from the motion to swing, the blow made was weighted yet precise, shifting the incoming blade to a new direction without mitigating its near overpowering force. This technique was an application of the first form Helix. There was no greater course in the movement than to use it to redirect the attack without ever making direct contact. The spinning blade was now significantly off its intended course, but Rean slashed at it again, birthing a shockwave that further shifted its path. The blade went flying hairs to the right of the direction it had come from. The hand was there to deftly catch it midair. Get fucking blasted, nerd. Okay. But so far, Rean has gotten to be cool. You just can't see him be cool. You can only hear about him being cool. You may have only recently taken the title, but you're worthy of being called a Divine Blade all the same. Use the unclouded eye well. From this hand emerged a new figure from the darkness. While he was clad in similar garments to the silhouette, something about his presence was much more inspired by comparison. His musculature was thoroughly discernible beneath his body-covering fortified suit. His every movement, however slight, reflected a complete lack of hesitation, and the faint light of his eyes, visible through his mask, projected no emotion whatsoever. The man possessed an aura of a true warrior, one projected only by those who have fought more battles than was possible to count. Fall back. He was too formidable a foe for you to handle. The silhouette slid into the darkness in an instant. Only the new arrival was left to face Rean. I need to know, who are you and why do you attack me? Our contract forbids the disclosure of such information. You'll leave this place now, fledgling Divine Blade. The tone was not one of advice, nor one of order. It was as if the man were stating a fact, his calmness veiling an undertone of malice that told Rean what would happen if he did not do as he was told. I'm afraid I can't do that without an explanation, not when I haven't found what I'm looking for yet. I understand, then. There was no longer anything to discuss. All they could do was battle. I, Kuragane of the Rogetsu School, shall be your opponent. Have you killed a Septurion? Well, no, I'm just like a guy. One of the people here has killed multiple Septurions. One of them hasn't. I'm just saying, not trying to be like a hater or nothing. I'd have rather settled this with words, but I can see that's not an option. Rean sighed, taking his own stance in turn. Then Rean Sworzer, master of the 8 Leaves One Blade School's 7th form, shall be yours. The divine blade moved instantly. The bizarre weapon Kurogane wielded was less akin to a sword and more four equally sized blades arranged in the shape of a cross, their bases connecting to a single point. And he could direct this large weighted shuriken as though it was a simple child's toy spoke volumes about how strong he was. Still, even it was not infallible, for it was not one to be used ideally in close-range combat. Kurogane appeared to have no other key weapons on hand, either, meaning that if Rean could force him to a fight where he would be at a disadvantage, he would most likely come out the victor. This is what he had in mind when first choosing to act. Second form, Gale! He galed his ass! He closed the gap between them, drew his blade, and made a wide swing towards his opponent in the blink of an eye. Kurogane blocked the blow with ease. That, however, meant nothing in the larger scheme of things. Rean knew well this man's capabilities. So long as the gap between them was closed, and it was, he considered the attack a success. But just as he thought he'd be able to push forward and overpower his foe by mounting a newly fierce assault, Kurogane had split his cross-saved shuriken in half. Ease of which he made it clear this was intended by design. He can dual-wield double sabers? There's no hiding his shock. In the West, double sabers were seen as relics from the Dark Ages that were difficult to utilize. Crow was the only person Rean knew who was competent with one, and only one. The skill it would take to use two was almost too difficult to fathom. Yeah, hey, some dude you never heard of before. Hey, he's cooler than anybody else. He's cooler than anyone else. His surprise created an opening that Kurogane was not going to let pass unexploited. Possessing twin two-ended blades allowed the shinobi to perform considerably more strikes than Rean, giving him no chance to push back. Steel sparked as their weapons clashed. Kurogane was dominant for some time, but he could do nothing to bolster his advantage. With strike and spark after strike and spark, the advantage was moving back to Rean. This was in part due to him being used to fighting this weapon that defied rationale, but it was also because he had been given the time to find what he was looking for. Perfect range in which to attack. I mean, like, you can have Rean kind of get his ass kicked a little bit, but you have to let him win. Come on. You can't let Rean get punked. Come on, man. We didn't give this man 5 games to get punked by some dude we never heard of in a side story. Double sabers were forged with a shorter reach than they appeared to have, something inevitable due to their handles being in the middle. It could have been because he used them as a shuriken, but the length of Kurogane's sabers were even shorter than Crow's, meaning Rean would have to adjust with the longer length of his blade. He measured patiently, staying only just out of Kurogane's reach and evading the onslaught by a hair's breadth each time prior to countering. It was calculated quickly thanks to Kurogane's frequent rapid attacks, meaning all Rean had to do now was wait for the right moment. The moment would come in the form of his opponent showing impatience for this stalled battle, driving him to take an unneeded step forward. Rean evaded the strike expertly, instantly returning it with an upward diagonal slash. The forceful swing of the Taichi made contact with the handle on Kurogane's own swung weapon, knocking it clean out of his hand. Yeah. Rean dashed forward to make use of his availed opportunity, but only after a flicker of bewilderment, Kurogane moved away to deny him. He blocked Rean's attack with a double saber still in his possession and hurled a hidden kunai with his free hand, jumping backward a significant distance while doing so. Very good, Divine Blade of the 8 Leaves. You may pale to the skills of our princess, but you without doubt deserve your reputation. Princess? Rean's intonation went unanswered as Kurogane took a notably different stance than before. I'll demonstrate my respect for your skill with my finest technique. Hey, I guess maybe it's one of the other Divine Blades? This put Rean staunchly on guard. Senses heightened. He focused every nerve in his body, fixing his eyes on whatever was to come of Kurogane, who is now gone. Nothing remained where Rean's opponent, who just stood. He hadn't taken his eyes off him, never eased himself for a moment, yet Kurogane was nowhere to be seen. How? How did he move that quickly? Was it some kind of spatial translocation? It's okay, Rean, you have the Genesis Orb, you have infinite evasion, you can't be hit! Is it that he never moved at all, and he was still there sight unseen? Wasn't it either. The double saber Rean had repelled to the ground was also gone. I can still sense him, so he hasn't gone far. Rean suppressed the panic welling up within him, honing his senses a second time. That was when another black cyclone swirled towards him from the shadows. He half expected something of this nature, so with little deviation, he's able to deflect it as he did the first time. The attack indicated that Kurogane had reassembled his shuriken after recovering it. This lost half so he could throw it again. It also indicated, together with the slight changes in his surroundings, where he was now positioned. Rean needed a little more time to know where he was for certain. But ahead of making a solid conclusion, the cyclone came at him again from a new angle. That was fast. When he blocked his attack as well as the last before he could fully correct his posture, the next cyclone appeared. The gap between was getting shorter and shorter. Come on, Rean, you're used to enemies having infinite speed. We trained for this, Rean. There was another, this time was shorter, and another, shorter. Soon, these assorted smaller cyclones were beginning seemingly grow into a blended grand storm of death, with Rean trapped at its center. Doesn't feel like I'm being attacked by a single person. Did he make phantom copies of himself? He had no idea where the next cyclone would come from, and by the time he located it, the next one was ready. Even the unclouded eye wasn't going to be enough for him to deduce Kurogane's location. Use your S-craft! He had been able to repel every blade that met with him so far, but that was growing increasingly difficult. I didn't want to use it, but I'm not sure I have a choice. Well aware that doing so would place him in danger, Rean took his mind off the battle. He gave up blocking and evading attacks, dedicating the bare minimum of his focus to not sustaining lethal blows and focusing his mind inward. He focused on the power that he had long cultivated inside of him. Power he had feared, loathed, and rejected. Power he now relied on, desired, and nearly surrendered himself to. Power he faced with his loved ones at his side, making it a true part of himself. His mind clear as day, Rean did the thing. He imbued his Taichi with a great power surging out of him, crying out as he did so, and spinning his body forcefully around to create a bladed circle around him. The energy released by his Taichi repelled all forthcoming shuriken with ease, and with them, Kurogane's phantom copies lurking in the darkness faded to nothing. Friggin' F-craft his ass? F-craft? S-craft? With that, there you are! He charged towards Kurogane, hit him with a damn arcane gale. The man was thoroughly overwhelmed by Rean's sudden counterattack, throwing him completely off balance. There was nothing he could do to repel what would come next. It's time to settle this. Rean swung his Taichi downward while pouring all this into his might into a final single strike. And just as the two felt the battle was coming to an end, no, Rean, you're not allowed to actually hurt anybody. Zeroth form duality? Oh no. Somebody's even cooler. Accompanied with a voice as beautiful as a bell was a slash tearing through the sky. Its color so black it threatened to eclipse the moon. I'm just saying, whoever this is, if they're so badass, why didn't they fight Ishmelga? The world almost ended, idiot. I'm not being like a hater or nothing. I'm just saying, oh, if there's all these like really strong people that were just all fucking off in Calvard, the world almost ended. Idiots. But that wasn't all. What? The high-pitched metallic sound, Rean's beloved Taichi was sundered, cleanly in two. Well, alright, Rean, you had your fun, now you're getting punked. Kurogane was also taken aback with this new arrival. I heard what was happening from both our scouts. You could have invited me to join the fun instead of keeping it all to yourself. Words as she chided Kurogane indicated dissatisfaction, but the music of her tone betrayed her excitement. Being made to see who this mysterious figure was. I mean, she's got the aesthetic, and the sight of her alone took his breath away. She was young, wearing a fortified suit that looked to be a marriage of classical and modern Eastern styles, with long silver hair that almost appeared to glow in the pale moonlight. Her age was likely close to Rean's, perhaps a little younger, of course, with well-defined features that still held traces of adolescence, pairing strikingly in contrast to the empty void behind her eyes. Like, couldn't we at least make her, like, old? So it doesn't feel as bad that Rean's getting punked? It was the air of a young noblewoman who had been sheltered from impurities all her life, and the stench of a baleful warrior who had bathed in the blood of countless lives. How she was both and neither at once, Rean could not understand, but this was the very quality that made her all the more captivating and dangerous. In the woman's left hand was a large black and gray blade that threatened to freeze him for daring to glance at it. No doubt it was what halved Rean's Taichi mere moments ago. What did... Rean fumbled for the words as he clutched the useless handle tightly in his hand. The fair-haired woman only smiled as she looked down upon it. The weapon was very fine, but it was never any match for my friend, I'm afraid. She spun the black blade in her hands around gently before holding it up towards the night sky to seemingly display it with pride. It wasn't hard to see why she would boast about possessing such a weapon. He had seen many a blade of historical significance, but instinct told him that hers was better than any of those. The blunt side featured an intricate design of deep gray that, while he could not discern its meaning, there and then he knew it was nothing less than a work of art. There was an aura about it, one cold as ice, that seemed to reject its worldly surroundings, making it capable of cutting through anything it so desired. I'm just saying, if it's got a bunch of art on it, it's probably ceremonial, and that means it ain't worth shit in real combat. I'm just saying. It came in company with a beautiful hilt of deep red that contrasted its body without feeling out of place. I mean, the hilt, it can be all decorative, but like the actual blade itself, the juxtaposition was in a sense much a reflection of its wielder, with those two opposing natures being distinctive yet also as one. Rean thought as he observed, her blade was clearly something special, but that alone did not explain the strength behind her attack. Sorry, Rean, she's just built different and cooler than you, and you'll never be as cool as her. You're old news, Rean. We don't want to play with you anymore. He'd never heard of the technique she used, but it was certainly connected to the 8 leaves in some way, and the skill she showed in executing it made her equal to the Divine Blade. Well, no, obviously she just punked her ass. He was so fixated on these thoughts rushed through his mind that he was only brought out by her sudden laughter. I don't think I'd ever meet you here. I wonder if your old master is behind guiding us to the same place. Or our old master. Or if it's just a happy coincidence. Wait. The manner in which he spoke and her familiarity with Rean gave him a theory. The technique he just used was really something. Consider me intrigued. To a league above more interesting than our senior practitioners. He was right. Are you... But before he could hear what he already knew, she turned away, refusing to let him finish the question. He isn't here, so why don't you run back to your family? Go and make the most of your vacation. Just don't let your skill with the blade slip. The world may need it again one day. I mean, apparently Rean's a fucking punk. We don't need his ass. See? This is why I've always been on Team Lloyd. She spoke with a certain satisfaction as she pointed down the other half of his broken blade, and then she leaped high, seemingly disappearing on the other side of the moon. Rean could only stare dumbfounded as she vanished. He couldn't even speak. Kuragane left with her. Ikaruga, the Black God One-Blade School, and our senior practitioners. Rean had been unable to fulfill his objective, and not just that. He was left with countless new questions of the people he encountered and the mountain. He felt there was meaning behind being guided to this special place, but how important it was or what it entailed he did not know. And yet, the person responsible for discerning that won't be me. Looking down at his broken Taichi, he was struck anew with how massive the world truly was. And he realized that now that his master was confirmed to be elsewhere, the purpose of his visit to Longlai was nothing more than to enjoy a wonderful, ordinary vacation with his family. This meeting here was but a peculiar coincidence. For now, at least. To get back, I need to reforge my Taichi, myself. Nothing stirred in this region all across Calvard, but there was nothing he could do about that, as he was. All he could focus on was training and bettering himself so that one day play a part against the next threat that loomed over the distant horizon. New resolve welling in his soul, he made his way back to his now beloved mountain trail, back to where his loving family awaited. Definitely my biggest problem there is saying that the girl's like younger than Rean. Like, you know, fuck it, I'll let Rean get punked on by like 30-year-olds. Rean getting punked on by people younger than him? I don't fucking buy it. Alright? I don't care how much combat experience this lady has. She has not killed 2 Septirions. Technically 3 Septirions, kinda. You had the well, I guess technically 5, if you count Ishmelga as 2, Ishmelga Rean as another 2, and the Super Mirage, that's another one. Alright? Rean kills one more Septirion, he gets a free voucher for ice cream, alright? That's how many times he's done it. So, since that took a long time, this will actually be a bonus video then. And now I'm going to pause, and we will come back and do the other one as part of the same video. But before I do that, I need to record a real ending to the finale. So, we're going to do that. Yeah. Well, I guess before we jump back into that, I guess we should say, I mean, that was interesting. I liked reading it. You know, in some ways they can kind of do some interesting stuff through text that you can't necessarily do via the, like the in-game engine. So like the fight scene and everything with Kurogane felt cool. Definitely not a fan of Rean getting punked, obviously. But I guess that's Rean, that's your fate in life. You're old news. You're washed. Less than an hour ago, we defeated the ultimate being. Then immediately they're like, hey, Rean's getting beat up by some girl you never heard of before who's way cooler than him and anybody else because she's the greatest. It's just a very annoying writing quirk they have in the series. It's like they love their NPCs more than they love the actual playable characters, so the NPCs always get to punk on everybody. I don't know. I mean, like, even if it was just like, I would accept it being like, okay, she's as strong as Rean, or maybe even like a little, but like just easily destroying him and humiliating him like that, doesn't feel good at all. Especially when it's a character who's literally not been alluded to in the slightest. It just doesn't feel good at all. I don't like it. Alrighty, we'll be right back to continue this first bonus video, and I'm gonna go finish recording the finale, which is weird to say.